Well, after that 1975 first run for about a year, I guess it was, maybe a year and a half, then I went back to Phoenix and had a kind of a hiatus period. I got another phone call from Vince at the gym I was training at. He said, "Billy, good to talk to you again." He said, "This is Vince Sr." I said, "Vince, good to hear your voice again. What's going on? What's happening?" He says, "Listen, Bruno's tired. Bruno's worn out. The wrestling rings in the New York territory were like boxing rings. They were hard as a carpet that we're sitting on right now. They were boxing rings. They had no give to them." And Vince said, "Bruno is tired. He's worn out, he's beat up, and he wants to retire. He wants to work a little bit, but he doesn't want to work the full-time schedule, and he wants to drop the strap." And he says, "I think you'd be perfect to take the strap." And he said, "But I've got a guy named Bob Backlund that I'm in the process of training and preparing to take Bruno's spot permanently. You will be an interim champion from this date, the exact date he gave me to take the strap, take the belt, to the exact date that I would surrender and give up the belt back to Backlund." And it was just short of a year, 11 months, 10 and a half months, something like that. So anyway, I said, "That's great. That's fantastic. I'd be glad to, happy to." So we did it, and we did it in Baltimore. Why did we do it in Baltimore when all the title changes happened in New York, Madison Square Garden? Well, Vince Sr. was the mastermind behind that. He said, "It's time that we do it in another city to catch the fans off guard." Well, when I walked into Baltimore, April 30th, 1977, there's all these cameras and these scaffolding, which were never there before in the city, and Vince Jr. sitting ringside, and all the TV crew, and so it's kind of obvious something's going to happen here tonight. You know, I'm the main event against Bruno, and we have cameras for the first time ever. Cameras were set up in Baltimore. And so I think the fans might kind of catch on to what's going on here, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter at all. And so, sure enough, we made the exchange in Baltimore, and it was a living hell getting out of that ring when I took that belt from Bruno and had cheated by putting my feet. And Vince McMahon Sr. insisted not only do I put my feet on the ropes to cheat, but I put my feet on the top turnbuckle. So every fan in the house knew that I cheated to beat Bruno for the belt. Usually you don't put your feet on the top turnbuckle if you're going to pin somebody and use the rope for leverage. This is the second turnbuckle, maybe the first one or the second. He said, "You put your feet on the top turnbuckle." And so you go back in history and look at the still photographs or the video, and you'll see my feet, and I was bleeding heavily because I felt the least I could do for Bruno Sammartino is bleed for the man, because he's surrendering the belt, this priceless belt, to me. And so I'm going to show gratitude for him and just cut my head open and bleed half to death in honor of him surrendering the belt to me. And man, I put my feet on the top rope, and when that referee counted 3, all hell broke loose when they realized that it was for real. And I rolled over, and I got up, and the referee came over and raised my hand, and I had that iconic still photograph. I may not have sent it to you yet, but I will, of the referee with my hand raised with the belt in my hand and the blood pouring down my body. And the fans absolutely were in a frenzy. You're supposed to turn the house lights on in between matches so you can see to get out, because it's very dark in Baltimore. You look at the still photos and some of the video, little lamp type things over the ring, very dark arena. And man, the guy that's supposed to turn the house lights on was watching the deal. He got so into it, he forgot to turn the house lights on. So it's dark, I'm trying to get out of the ring, and all the fans close off the aisle. It's just little ropes anyway, around cement, little barriers, and the fans closed off the exit row. So I rolled the belt up around this right hand, and it had about this much belt showing and pouring blood. And I said, I got to get out of this ring. And I stepped out, and I started swinging that belt, man, like a helicopter blade. And I whacked people. I mean, I hit people with the belt, and people were hitting me. People were kicking me. People were throwing things at me, chairs. It was like a riot trying to get out of that ring. I never had felt that type of intensity in my entire life. Trying to get back to the locker room, I had to fight my way all the way back, all the way, getting kicked, getting punched, getting hit with. I think they were selling bottles of beer at the time, not even cups, chairs, everything imaginable. Little old ladies with fighting fingernail file things, reaching through, stabbing you. And so it was absolute chaos and pandemonium. The word pandemonium really comes into play here. Pure pandemonium broke loose. And I finally got back to the locker room, showered off, got the blood off me, threw my stuff in the bag, cleared out of there. I said, thank you, Bruno, brother. I got to beat the crowd, man. He says, I'll see you, superstar. And, of course, that was the first match after intermission. There was like 5 more matches, so, and a battle royal to follow to hold the crowd so I could get out of the building. And I ran out the back door, grabbed the first cab I got, man, it was gone.